I want you all to look at something.
Real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Like lasagna. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. And I want to show you something else Leon Edwards has said before. He says, first of all, he ruled out the fight with Leon Edwards. He says, this isn't charity hour. He says, Leon Scott hasn't earned anything, boys. I'm in the Colby Covington Incorporated Championship business. I'm not in the Leon Scott charity business. It's crazy because Leon Edwards, out of the two, is the only one with an undisputed championship belt. He's also the only one to beat Usman twice. Meanwhile, Colby Covington lost to Usman twice. I want to show you something that Leon Edwards said. He said that if he is presented with the contract for a Colby Covington fight, he will not sign it. Also, his next fight will be around late summer, which he said. He also said Colby Covington is getting rewarded for not taking fights. So this Dana White privilege is definitely real. And let me tell you all, this is a common Leon Edwards W here. Because as much as Dana White wants to say that Colby Covington is next in line because quote unquote he deserves it the most, I feel like Dana White himself knows that that's not true. The fans know it's not true. The fighters know it's not true. Everybody knows Leon Edwards is not only not the most deserving, he's also the least deserving out of the names that everybody keeps bringing up. He's the least deserving of this title shot. The only reason he keeps getting brought up is because he's got a big mouth, he could talk a big game, and he's ranked the highest, even though he's beat the less highest level opposition. If we just look at Colby Covington in the last couple years, right? Listen, since his last title shot against Kamaru Usman, which he lost, and even the one before that, which he also lost, he fought number 6 at the time, Jorge Masvidal. Pay-per-view headliner, not even a championship belt on the line. It was just a pure grudge match, enough to sell pay-per-views and put butts in seats. So held this event, right? Covington beats Masvidal, a guy with no wrestling, a guy who's coming off of a knockout loss, brutal knockout loss, knockout cold loss, and is on a 2-fight losing streak. Fights him, beats him with just pure wrestling, which is something that Masvidal doesn't really have, right? Completely disappears off the face of the earth. This guy is nowhere to be seen. That brother was gone. He was gone. I tell you, I heard nothing of Colby Covington since not March 5th. A little bit later in March when he got, assaulted. Since then, we've heard nothing of him except for 2 days ago when this guy decides to show up out of nowhere, weigh in as the backup fighter, and then in the audience starts yelling at the actual people who are fighting for the championship. He says, "That belt's mine. I'm coming for that belt, Leon Edwards." I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand why Colby Covington is, first of all, being praised for this. People talking about oh, Colby, he's moving in silence. He's moving in the shadows or some shit. Colby Covington is not fucking Batman, okay? Let me tell you that, first of all. Second, this guy, in between title shots, who does he fight? Fights, okay, 40-year-old coming off of a losing streak, Robbie Lawler, who in the last 5 years beat Nick Diaz, who at that point hadn't fought in 5 years. Okay, then he gets the title shot, gets knocked out, fights Tyron Woodley, who is coming off of a losing streak as well, edging 40 years old. Hasn't won a fight since then either. Hasn't won a fight since fighting Usman before this fight, by the way. So even crazier losing streak. This win is not the most well-aged win. Only got the TKO win because Woodley broke his rib, right? Then, okay, another title shot a year later, way more than a year later. Another title shot out of nowhere. Just fights Usman again. I get it. Listen, it was a fun fight. Both the Usman fights were fun. The trash talk is there, right? But Covington, I think he gets too much praise for these fights. Listen, when you have a kickboxing match with a guy who's a wrestler, while you yourself are also a wrestler, it's bound to be somewhat close. Is that crazy to say? Listen, when you kickbox with a wrestler, it's just bound to be closer. I don't know what to tell you. Kickboxing with a wrestler, having a kickboxing match with a wrestler like Kamaru Usman, it's not the most impressive thing. I wouldn't be surprised if the fight is somewhat close. Colby Covington, the reason he's ranked so high is because of these performances with Usman. That's it, bro. And then he lost the second Usman fight anyways. Then after that, fights another 40-year-old guy coming off of a losing streak, coming off of a knockout loss, even worse, which is something that I don't think Woodley or Robbie Lawler were coming off of either. Beats him. And now you want to give him a third title shot. I can't. I don't get it. Make it make sense. I don't understand why this guy's getting all these title shots. It's just because he has a big mouth, I feel like. Maybe it's because of his ranking as well. But ranking doesn't always mean everything. We've seen guys who were far down in the rankings beat the guy who was number 2 in the division. We've seen this happen before. Covington's number 2 in the division right now. Who's to say that he wouldn't lose to, I don't know, some of the other guys in the division as well? Who knows? You know? But listen, I went over Colby Covington, right? I went over his insane resume. Why he deserves this title shot, because he's moving in the shadows and he's Colby Covington and he's this. Let's look at Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev, since his UFC debut, first of all, he's gone unbeaten, which is impressive in itself. He's gone on a pretty impressive winning streak, I do gotta say. He beat a top 15 guy in Li Jingliang, but we're not talking about top 15. We want to talk about top 10, right? Beats Gilbert Burns, who at the time was number 2 in the division. Number 2, right behind Covington and Usman. So this guy was at the top. This guy was at the pinnacle, at the peak of welterweight rankings. Chimaev ranked number 11, beats him, right? Close fight, fun fight, but still manages to win. Chimaev took that risk. Hell, even Gilbert Burns took that risk. These guys are not afraid of taking risks, fighting people in their prime, fighting people who are terrifying, scary people that most people wouldn't fight, not even the best fighters in the world. They fought each other because these guys are about it, bro. And they did that. And he also fought Kevin Hahn, which it's not the most impressive win. It was the performance was impressive though. Listen, I talked about beating number 2, right? That's one more top 10 win than Colby Covington has, because if we look at it right now, Masvidal's number 11. He's not even top 10 right now. Everybody else is unranked besides Usman, but he lost to Usman, so we're not counting that. You know. Now let's move on to the GOAT, Belal Muhammad. Let me talk to you all about why I think Belal Muhammad is the most deserving of that title shot. And everybody knows it. Everybody online is saying Belal's the most deserving. I also want to talk about why he's not getting it, which is important to mention as well. Listen, since the Leon Edwards fight, it was a no contest. You guys should see what he said on Joe Rogan about it. It's pretty scary stuff. Could have ended his career. Not only in this one, but he had a lot of eye problems and he got poked in the eye. It's not much he could do about that, man. It's just, it is what it is. He got eye poked and he came back because Belal Muhammad's a G, man. But he fights Damian Maia, wins. It's not the craziest win. Okay, we're going to move on. Stephen Thompson, who's still ranked number 6, by the way. He's still top 10. And by the way, he's coming off of a win. He's coming off of a knockout win, a finish. Stephen Thompson right now. Still getting wins right now. Belal Muhammad beat him. Unanimous decision. Impressive. Vicente Luque, a guy that everybody thought was going to beat Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad proves everybody wrong. Luque was number 4 at the time. He's still top 10. He's number 10 right now. Belal Muhammad beats him, snaps his unbeaten streaks, everything. Luque was the next big guy. I truly believe that. In my eyes, Luque was going to be the next problem at welterweight. And Belal Muhammad just shut all of that down. Now, he beats currently top 10, currently number 9, Sean Brady. Knocks him out. He was undefeated. Not only, he wasn't coming off of no losing streak. Well, he wasn't coming off of no win. He was coming off of 15 straight wins because this guy was undefeated. Nobody had beaten Sean Brady up until this point. Nobody had knocked out Sean Brady up until this point. And Belal Muhammad did all of that. So we look at Belal Muhammad. He's got 3 top 10 wins. 3 impressive top 10 wins. Sean Brady, Vicente Luque, Stephen Thompson. All guys that people thought were going to beat Belal Muhammad. Now, if we look at Colby Covington, how many top 10 wins does he have at welterweight? Zero. There aren't any. There are no top 10 fighters that he has beaten in this resume. I can't find them. I don't know where they are. I don't know where is the proof that Colby Covington deserves this title shot so much. I don't get it. We even talk about Khamzat Chimaev, how Colby can't fight Khamzat because Khamzat's moving up to middleweight. You know, he's not fighting at welterweight. He's not getting a title shot because he's a middleweight. Okay, well, you guys want to talk about this middleweight, right? Who has more top 10 wins, by the way, than the guy who's getting the next welterweight title shot. Isn't it wild that a so-called middleweight has got more top 10 welterweight wins? Top 5. Because he's still number 5. Gilbert Burns is still number 5. More top 5 wins than the next title challenger. I don't get it. Colby Covington as well. I wanted to talk about this. He could have so easily fought on UFC 286 and he just decided not to. He wanted to just sit back, relax. No. That's a lie. He still made weight. Okay, that's good. He still made weight. But he could have made weight against a guy like Khamzat, like Bilal Muhammad, right? Gilbert's booked. Shavkat had already fought, so still gonna fight Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad was more than ready to fight. Both these guys wanted this fight. Even Dana White was talking about fight Khamzat and Colby for UFC 286 in March. Fight never happened. Why? Who knows? Who knows why? But Colby Covington couldn't fight Khamzat or Bilal, but still wanted to weigh in. So we know he could have made weight. Weighed in as a backup fighter, so we know he still could have fought. Right? I don't get it. He didn't want to fight these guys. Listen, you still could have fought Bilal. You still could have been, not even fought, you still could have been booked to fight Bilal and still also been ready as a backup fighter. We've seen that happen before in the UFC, so why you couldn't just do the same this time around? It doesn't have to be one or the other. You know, you've got options. You do have options, just like you have options to fight all these top welterweight contenders, and you just don't want to do it. I don't get it. You skip. You fast forward to title shots. I don't understand why. You beat a 40-year-old guy coming off a losing streak. Fast forward to these title shots, and then you just repeat the cycle. And every time that it follows, I don't get it. I don't get it. You can't disappear for an entire year while these guys are on top, are on their A game, are fighting and beating everybody at the top while you're gone, and then you all of a sudden come back and you think you just deserve the title shot. That's not how it works. Listen, from a business standpoint, I get it. From a business standpoint, Colby Covington is going to bring the most money. He's going to bring the most pay-per-view buys. He's going to put the most butts in seats. He's going to get the most people interested in the fight. I understand that. Everybody understands that. Everybody can come together and agree that Colby Covington is going to bring the most attention to whatever card he's on. Out of any of these 4 guys, Colby Covington is going to bring the most eyes. That's true. Factual, 100%. I agree with you. But as of who deserves it the most, it's Colby Covington. What? It's not Colby Covington. It's not Colby Covington. I think it's Bilal Muhammad. I honestly think it's Bilal Muhammad. I think Khamzat deserves it more than Colby. Bilal deserves it more than Colby. Gilbert Burns deserves it more than Colby. Shavkat deserves it more than Colby. And another thing I want to talk about, I think it's smart what the UFC is trying to do right now. What they're trying to do right now is trying to book Bilal Muhammad and Shavkat Rakhmonov. That's what they're trying to do right now. Which I don't understand. First of all, everybody wanted Shavkat to fight Colby, right? That was the fight that people actually wanted. But now the UFC is trying to you know what? If they do that, right? If they book Bilal versus Shavkat, it would occupy Bilal with another fight so that he can't fight for the title. Simultaneously, it would also occupy Shavkat, so now he can't fight for the title. You know. Also, at the same time, Gilbert Burns, he's already booked to fight Jorge Masvidal, so they can't really make that fight. And at the same time, the UFC is still trying to push and try to convince everybody that Khamzat is fighting at middleweight. They keep trying to claim that Khamzat's moving out to middleweight, even though Khamzat himself, I'm pretty sure he's been saying that he wants to fight at welterweight, but the UFC keeps saying oh, this guy's a middleweight. He's not fighting at welterweight. He's fighting at middleweight. I don't get it. The fight that people wanted, it wasn't Bilal and Shavkat. It was Colby and Shavkat. That's the fight that people still want. But now you want to create this distraction. Oh, now Shavkat's fighting Bilal. So now both of them can't fight for the title. It can only be Colby. It can only be Colby because Hamzat, Bilal, and Gilbert and Shavkat would all be occupied at that point if that were to happen. I don't get it. Bilal Muhammad's fought enough top 10 people. I feel like he's already fought 3. I feel like that's more than enough, right? Or maybe it's not more than enough. Maybe he's got to get another win in. Okay, fair enough. But who needs more top 10 wins? Colby or Bilal? Colby Covington, it looks like he's in desperate need of that if he wants any credibility at welterweight for another title shot. I think the way to go, Leon versus Bilal, Colby versus Shavkat, or even Colby versus Hamzat if Hamzat really wants to make that way. But I know Colby would never in his life fight Hamzat Chimaev. I know that for a fact. If he did, I would give him a lot of respect. I truly would, because I do not think he'll take that fight. I don't think he'll take any of these fights. I don't think Colby will fight any of these 4. No, you know what? Maybe he'll fight Bilal. He might. I feel like he might fight Bilal. Just not anytime soon. Moral of the story. Covington doesn't deserve this title shot. The UFC, they're sneakily giving him a title shot by creating new matchups in the division like Bilal and Shavkat, already booking Gilbert and pushing the fact that Hamzat's a middleweight now. They're doing all this to just sneakily make more sense that Colby Covington deserves this title shot, even though he doesn't. He's trying to keep everybody else busy, especially since Bilal Muhammad doesn't turn fights down. So giving him this fight now with Shavkat, it's like, oh, you can't turn this fight down now. Now I'm going to give Colby Covington the title shot. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't make sense. More of the story, Colby Covington doesn't deserve the title shot, but realistically, I'm more likely to watch Colby Covington fight Leon Edwards than I am to watch Bilal Muhammad fight Leon Edwards. It's just true. I'd watch it regardless. I don't care. I feel like anybody would watch it regardless, but Colby Covington's just going to bring more attention. He's going to bring more trash talk. He's going to bring more hype. That's just it, man. I don't know. Bilal Muhammad deserves it more. Everybody knows this. Everybody. You'd be lying if you say you didn't know this. But Colby Covington's get it, and I think that's just the reality we live in. Actually, no, because Leon Edwards says he's not giving it to him, so commonly on W if that doesn't happen. If he fights Bilal instead, that's fire. Let Colby Covington fight anybody else. If Colby Covington fights Jeff Neal, that's a top 10 win. Then I'd say he deserves a title shot. I think, you know what? Leon Edwards, since he's the champion, he does have a say in this shit. He should be the one making the calls. So you know what? Leon Edwards should tell. I'm not telling him what to do, but I think a good idea would be to tell Colby Covington, listen, Colby, for me to give you a title shot, I'm the champion. I make the calls. For me to give you the title shot, you have to either fight Hamzat Chimaev, Bilal Muhammad, Gilbert Burns, or Shavkat Rakhmonov. And if you beat them in any way at all, if you knock them out in the first round or if you rob them in a split decision, it doesn't matter as long as you win. As long as you win, then you get the title shot. And you could make it a fight night main event. Actually, no. Make it like the co-main featured bout for a pay-per-view. Because that's going to bring pay-per-views. Colby versus anybody here, that's pay-per-view money. But yeah, just give him this. Just give him that. I feel like then he'd have to do it. And the thing is, Colby Covington has a decent shot against some of these guys. He has a chance to win, but he still just doesn't want to do it. I don't get it. Anyways, yeah, video's too long now, but I had to speak my mind about this because I don't get it. Do you guys think Colby Covington deserves a title shot over any of the other people I listed? Let me know. It's just, I don't know. But yeah. Let me know down below who you think deserves the title shot the most. Just as long as it's not Colby Covington, man. Jesus Christ.